In Vikings, Valhalla, Episode 8, Leif arrives at Magnus' camp in Season 3 in an attempt to exact revenge on Freydis. None other than Harold stops him as he creeps in to launch an attack. Yes, the prince has returned and acquired the respect of the Jarls, who think Magnus is too young to rule Norway. Harold and Leif resolve to kill Magnus in order to exact revenge on Freydis when they catch up. What's going on in Kattegat? But Freydis is still alive and well, and he's in Kattegat. Elfjafu, with whom she reunites warmly, informs her that Canute has given Leif a ship that will transport him to the continent of North America, which is known as the Golden Land. Freydis is advised by the queen to wait in Kattegat so that she won't be disappointed when Leif comes back. Sven is currently occupied with pursuing Magnus. When he sees him swimming by himself, he orders his soldiers to attack. But they have been taken over by Magnus, and by killing Sven, they betray him. Magnus murders Elfjafu in Kattegat after she curses him as she passes away. Next, she makes a deal just as he is going to murder Sven's expectant wife. She draws Freydis to the Great Hall, where she is apprehended by Magnus and his warriors. Canute's fate is unknown. As Canute is near death, his earls reassure him that they would support Emma in her bid to become Queen of England. He says, "I always knew Godwin was selfish and wanted his children to be king," as he lies dying. Therefore, marrying Canute's niece Jitha was the only way to guarantee his allegiance. The dying monarch asserts that Godwin's child will one day rule, but only if he helps Emma along the way. Godwin agrees and then informs Emma that her position as the only ruler will not be recognized. In order to get everyone's support, they decide to bring in her eldest son Edward. Also, she has the regency to reign. When Canute passes away, a Christian ceremony and a Viking funeral are held for him. Who is the English monarch? Emma is startled to learn that the prince who arrives is none other than Harold Harefoot, the second son of Canute and Elfjafu, as she waits for Edward to arrive. It turns out that Godwin never sent Edward the message. She's even more shocked to learn that Godwin has already convened the council and secured everyone's signature to support Harefoot's claim to be England's ruler. Emma quickly adjusts, lowering her voice and taking Harefoot's hand all of a sudden. Though Godwin doesn't like the direction this is going, he gives in when Harefoot requests some alone time with Emma. Does Harold ever ascend to the Norwegian throne? Magnus tells that Forkbeard had taken an oath stating that Magnus will rule Norway after his death once the Jarls assemble in Kattegat. However, before Forkbeard took the oath, Harold and Leif appear and reveal that the Jarls had vowed to crown Harold king following Olaf's passing. The pious Christians who support Magnus and the remaining Jarls who support Harold split apart. In the end, they decide that Magnus and Harold ought to rule as co-kings. Both agree, but Magnus requests that Harold burn Freydis because she is a pagan out of good faith. The news that she is still alive shocks both Harold and Leif, but what shocks him even more is when Harold accepts Magnus' term. How is Freydis able to flee? Leif devises a scheme with Harold and the priest of Magnus to save his sister. Freydis summons the ancient gods as she is being carried to the fire. At that point, Leif uses the gunpowder he made back in Syracuse to covertly light the plaza on fire. Because of this, everyone thinks Freydis is powerful. Leif lights the pyre ablaze during the chaos, and his men manage to slip Freydis out, giving the impression that she has vanished into the flames. While Magnus is perplexed by what has happened, the people think that Freydis